Alright guys, you're back just in time for us to get into the countdown. Sure you hear those beeps, so let's hop into it. As it is going to be Detox. You had mentioned this earlier, because we don't get to see this too often. There are a couple players who don't mind picking it, but yeah, we're getting into, for the first time today, Detox. Now this is a very unique map to BaseTradeTV made by the lovely map maker Avex, who should be lurking around in chat. He tends to magically show up when we're casting on his map. But of course, we'll go over the map a little bit for those who haven't seen it before in just a moment. Until then, in the top right, kicking off this best of 5 finals for the Corsair Cup, it is Team Liquid's MaNa.
In the bottom left, as the Teal Zerg, he is Tefel.
And of course, got to give a shout out to Guilty GB for the 3-month resub. Now, again, just mentioning a map that some of you may not have seen before. We've been using it very frequently in our cups, and to be honest, it's given us some fantastic games. Not a lot of players are a fan of it because they haven't seen it before, and it's not part of the regular map pool. But, again, you got a high ground disadvantage for the defender. You've got a weird choke leading to your natural that's very far away from your main. And double entrances to your third. There's so many ways that this map, in almost all aspects, favors the attacker. And while that doesn't mean, oh, you should get super aggressive and start, 4-raxing all over the place, it has made for some very interesting and very fun games.
Yeah. I mean, what it is interesting is that it's still all about the third base. I mean, seeing a ramp that goes up into your natural always looks weird, but, the evolution of StarCraft, it's no longer about those one base builds, usually. So we usually don't see that as an issue. It is that third base having double ramps, and the fourth base still being kind of up in the air. That makes it interesting. So the fourth base is usually that gold, because it's a gold. It looks very tempting. It's also right there. But, Snoot's been going for the fourth. That would have been like Tefel's top left, for instance.
Yeah, like the really far off bases.
Yeah, I mean, we've even seen a couple of people just take not that base, but the regular one next to it for whatever reason. I don't really see the logic in that one, but so I won't talk too much about that. I think Tefel will just be taking the gold. It's just so tempting.
It's some discussion in chat, because I guess not everyone's clued into our sub-watch thing that we've been doing. I've been tweeting about this and talking about it on stream for the last couple days, but 1 month ago, we had a really sick sub-hype day, guys, and in a matter of 2 hours, we got, or no, not even, it was like an hour and a half, we got like 200 subscribers, and I still don't know what caused it. It was super hype, and I loved it. It was the best feeling I've ever had broadcasting. That being said, we're fully aware that not everybody was going to resub, and that most people were probably just subbing for the hype, and that's awesome and cool, and definitely part of what makes Twitch great when you can do something like that. But it's 30 days later, and a lot of these people who unsubscribed will be, falling off, today, yesterday. But so far, and I don't want to jinx this, I'm kind of surprised. I thought we would have woken up today with, say, like 1,000 subscribers, We're still at 1,230. We were at 1,250 last week. Like, we're still hovering around that same amount, which is really good. And I'm hoping, I don't want to get my hopes up and then be really disappointed later tonight, because we still have about 8 hours to go before we're probably in the quote-unquote safe zone. But the idea is that I'm hoping that maybe in the last month we actually convince those extra 200 people, not just for the hype, but hey, this is a great channel that's worth supporting.
Yeah.
That's the dream, at least. CGTF2, by the way, reminding us just how great this channel is with a 27-month resub. Big numbers, big feels, man. MaNa's scouting all over the map pretty relentlessly, but I'm not too sure what he's looking for. As this is, you're fighting against a Zerg player here. It's not like there's going to be a proxy factory hidden on that high ground, so I don't know what this probe's up to.
A lot of favoritism to MaNa from the crowd, which makes sense. I give the favorite to MaNa, too. I'm thinking a 3-1 or maybe even a 3-0.
Yeah, I see a lot of bets going his way. Tefel's a pretty scrappy fighter, though. We'll see. Either way, I mean, the fact that they're both in the finals is great. They're both in the money. Neither of these got walk away today without earning a little bit of cash from Corsair.
All right, so we had a Phoenix opener. It's going to take care of these Overlord drops that did prove to make Zerg look very powerful on this map at one point. So I like Tefel's idea, but
wait, where did that link
MaNa
drop?
was entirely on top of it.
Is there a hole here? Like, between the buildings?
There are 3 lings there.
Yo, we saw this bug on another map, Runes of Ceres, with the Reaper recently. Apparently, there's ground there that you can unload into prematurely, but can't escape from. That's weird. That's awesome and hilarious. And out of hundreds of games played on this map, it's the first time we've ever seen it.
The good news is that even if those 3 links had been included in the actual drop, it still wouldn't have done anything.
No, I mean, MaNa had that defended. The fact that the Phoenix was on top of that Overlord so early, the Adept and the Mothership Core sitting there, that at best kills a single probe. No, I take that back. That at best scouts.
Yeah, I was going to say at best it probably just scouts. Which, I mean, that still would have been useful. So, it's a very small way it affected the game, but...
I do want to see, though, the tactics weren't bad out of Tefel. Again, we got people like Nurchio who have done these great 2-prong drops on this map and made it look very silly and easy to beat Protoss that way.
Yeah, that looked like an absolutely abusive strategy against the Protoss on this map. So I'm really glad that Tefel was trying to use it, but he was immediately shut down. MaNa does, I guess, know the tricks of this map.
But that's the problem. Like, he went with 1, not 2. So there's no, like, look over
that
here, over there. We got a brand new sub, though. Got to give some love and shout-outs to Fiscal Frank, SC2. Must not be too fiscal to be spending your money subbing the channels.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Frank, for not being so fiscal. And your support for the channel is greatly appreciated. Phoenix is playing a little bit careful. One of them quite low. Doesn't want to lose these to the Queen so early. But 9 drone kills because, the Adepts got over here. I was like, man, I know the Phoenix killed a couple of units, but come on.
Yeah, this is devastating. Where's the army? The roaches pop out now. There we go. But now I just click on the drones and kill as many as possible before they die. And MaNa's getting a 3rd base behind this, continuing to kill drones. Oh my good god.
That's a slaughter. But as good as this drone kill massacre was, it evened up the game at best. You know, the worker count was definitely way in the favor of Tefel. He had a lot of money going for him. As we look at the income grab, it was heavily in his favor leading up to this point. So MaNa doesn't destroy, but MaNa equalizes.
Well, it does really, like, it equalizes the numbers, but as far as the game plan was, I think Tefel, like, he really didn't want to make any more drones past that point. So losing 18 is a pretty big blow to what he was hoping was going to be an attack, like, right now. He's moving out in the field, getting the Hydras across the map, and denying MaNa's 3rd.
There's a lot of focus on those Overlords, man.
Yeah, well, he's, probably was just macroing for a second or 2 back at home, but this is where Tefel's got to get that revenge. This
is also where it's a little bit dicey to defend. There are 2 different ramps.
This is force field in an Immortal, like, and just roaches. That was questionable.
Alright, well on the right side we had a probe patrolling. It seems a bit silly, but it had vision to see whether something would have gone elsewhere. But okay, cool map gets called. Big GG. As we said, the people who lose on this map are like, well, it's not a good map. I don't like it very much.
I think MaNa thought it was a cool map.
Yeah, we've had really good games on this map from all kinds of players, so it's really hard to say Tefel. I don't blame him blaming the map, but I don't think it's a scapegoat to go for on that one. Roaches and not a lot of them moving into force fields on a ramp with an Immortal. I don't see how that's the map's fault. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Zamigra?
I do know what you're saying. Just not having units to yeah. Well, come on.
Alright, well, game number 2 is going to be Tefel's map pick. Let's hop into it. We'll hold on the ads for now, guys, but we will take an ad break after this next game. So if anyone here has been sitting as long as I have, you got to use the bathroom or something, after this next map, we'll take a small break. But before that, it's Preon Terraces, game number 2, Tefel's pick. We're going to hop right into it. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll see you in a moment on this Goldie map. Alright, welcome back. And by the way, one more time, I know that the bot's not working, guys. There's some issues with the bot. I'm not a programmer. I'm not even going to pretend like I know. But from what I understand reading the forums, because BaseTradeTV's Twitch chat is on a new system, and the bot is on a different channel, which is on the old IRC client or something, it's not going to work. And unfortunately, it's just something we have to deal with. So I hear you guys. We know we're not ignoring you. It's just there's nothing to be done for the time being. But anyways, welcome back to the Corsair Cup game number 2. Spawning in the top left of this best of 5 grand finals, it is going to be Dignitas Tefel.
In the bottom right, out of the red Protoss, it is Liquid MaNa.
And another new sub comes in. Got to give some love to Han Solo S. Or Han Solos? Han Solo Zeros.
Why are you saying Han? Why are you being weird?
Han? I said Han. I said Han.
You definitely said Han.
Well, don't you know dear Han Solo? Why don't you get up there and take both those hands there and wash them before dinner?
Okay, anyway.
Thank you for the new sub. MaNa goes for a block, though. This was not something I would have expected, but definitely something that hurts, because the gold-based map, you want to be able to get that base gold as soon as you can.
It's so like, ha ha. Just so dumb.
Ha ha.
Tefel does just take the other third, the other gold rather, as his natural. So, he's gonna get to the 2 gold bases, 3 bases that he wanted eventually. MaNa's not following this up with like a cannon rush, for God's sakes. Although MaNa does have a couple of cheesy builds up his sleeve. Now, it's just that Nexus that was after that gateway, because he knew it wasn't going to be an early pool.
That took a long time to clean up for Tefel. I mean,
It did.
I mean, the third got thrown down, and this, I guess, will equalize in the grand scheme of things. But I guarantee you, after taking a loss in game 1, and we've seen Tefel rage straight up on stream before. Like, I hope this doesn't put him on tilt, because Tefel plays really well when he's like calm and collected and cool. But when Tefel starts feeling angry, like, you can see it in his play.
And MaNa has been cool and collected this entire time.
I don't mean this in terms to throw shade at Tefel, but some contrast here is I remember there's a series a while back. He was playing versus
Did you just
Bly.
use that saying? I'm so proud of you.
Okay, anyways, he's playing versus Bly, and if you remember, I think it was like on Echo or something a long time ago. It was truly like a long time ago. But Tefel would not let Bly pause the game. Bly kept trying to pause because there's a mouse issue, and Tefel kept unpausing on him. Like, he was on tilt from that series, and just nothing was... It was not a calm, rational Tefel, and that's not a Tefel that we see most often. But again, like, you can definitely tell when you watch Tefel play when he's maybe a little bit called anxious or not.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Well, you know what's going to put him even more on tilt than a pylon block?
Knowing that we got a sub and he didn't. Shout out to Dane543! Woo!
But no, a Dark Shrine and Dark Templar is ruining your day because you haven't scouted.
MaNa has found a really funny amount of wins off of Dark Templar play recently. And I don't think it's that anyone else got bad at, like, it's not like the whole StarCraft community suddenly forgot how to deal with Dark Templar, but just something about their timing and their cost efficiency when it comes to becoming Archons afterwards. Like, the Dark Shrine openers have been proving quite good.
Yeah, they have, yeah. So MaNa's done a couple of different variations. He's done, like, the All-In, like the Warp Prism, followed up by the Blink Stalker All-In, rather, and then he's also done the macro, version, which I think a lot of Protosses are doing. So that's the one we're seeing here. It gets the Dark Shrine really, really early, so it's going to be hitting before Lair could be done for most CVPs. But it is going to be followed up with Blink and a Nexus, more importantly, which Tefel sees the intention to take. He has one Spore Crawler. Just the safety Spore Crawler. It's going in the 3rd base, which I guess is a good call. Unless there's a Warp Prism, that's probably going to be the first place the Dark Templars go to.
Yeah. Thank you, Caligor, by the way, for a 23-month resub. And MaNa does take the long warp ins, but they're going to warp in nonetheless. So heading on to that 3rd as you predicted. Now, the thing is, if 2 DTs go in simultaneously, they could actually knock down this Spore Crawler before anything else could kill them. But one going in, that's going to kill a couple of drones, but kind of stop right there.
Wow. Tefel was so close to scouting that pylon, by the way. I'm surprised Zanaga didn't see it. But they see the Spore Crawler. Yeah, they see the Spore Crawler and they decide to just dip out, go to the natural. I don't think Tefel noticed his units were attacking something, so that's actually really lucky for Tefel. Or for MaNa,
okay,
sorry.
He's aware. He starts pulling around, he's trying to hide
Now
up.
he does, yeah.
Yeah.
There's his immediate reaction. It was nothing as it goes into the natural, and then immediate reaction as he sees it in the main. He's getting a lot of units, not just to clean up the Dark Templar, but also probably to go ahead and try and counterattack. There's going to be a weak point of the Protoss as they just invested into Templars that aren't actually very helpful on the defense. I mean, you can warp in more and go for Archons, and those are pretty helpful, but it's still a big difference between like the gateways being fast enough. Only 3 more gateways coming down just now. And the Dark Shrine, or the Dark Templar, will see Queens, Roaches, and Lings kind of moving forward here. And MaNa's going to know that he needs some ultimate defense here, like really clutch defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because it's a dynamic where if he snipes off the Overseer, then DTs are going to win the game. And we saw it with Snoot recently, versus MaNa specifically, but unfortunately he doesn't have the means of capability to do this. So what he has in his natural is not a bad fighting force, but it is just a non-existent supply count compared to what Tefel has on the field. I mean, that's the advantage of gold bases for Zerg. You can spam Roaches, you can spam Lings fairly easily.
Yeah, it looks like he will be giving up the gold base. It's probably the smarter option. I mean, this puts him behind a lot. This was not ideal. Ideal was that our Templar is doing a lot more damage and buying a lot more time. MaNa's not out of the game just because the 3rd went down. He still has an opportunity or two, especially if Tefel ever overcommits.
there's a lot of queens, and that's kind of funny, but there's no Ravagers, so there's no way to actually break these force fields. Oh, sorry, there's one, excuse me, but point still stands. There's not really a way to break these force fields. So
yeah.
I mean,
this is what
MaNa
I was talking about. Like,
right, like this was
overcommitting.
this was like the stand of 300. These are the hot gates, Leonidas.
Ravagers have made a defense against like all-ins a lot easier. You know, Mortal Sentry all-ins don't really exist anymore. But it has not changed. 2-base Immortal Protoss are not going to get broken up a ramp.
Well,
you're just not.
If he pushes out, that might be a problem. I mean, just the roaches isn't so scary, but the queen's actually adding quite a bit. Not just health and damage, but the transfuses. I got to say though, like I didn't realize that with the Nexus going down. Oops, let's see. Wreck my vision. Sorry guys, let me fix that. With the Nexus having gone down, I didn't realize how few units MaNa's actually lost this game though. 2 DTs on the other side of the map, a Zealot, and an Adept.
Yeah,
like that's
it was the
that's
smartest.
Nothing.
It was the smartest way to play for sure. So, I mean, Tefel is starting to like skyrocket. He's got a lot of a big bang. It's going with 10 Hydras right now. He's got that tech, obviously, with said Hydras. But MaNa, he could try and just do the slow push out.
Well,
this sneaky run by with Stalkers is so dangerous.
He's
but it's so many Stalkers.
This is so clever. I love that he goes for the hatchery instead of the drone kills. And of course, you can always go for drone kills afterwards. But sniping off this base is going to completely cut out the income.
He's got to see where the army is, you know? Like, is it coming behind him? Oh, that is so
This
good.
is MaNa. He's been recalling a lot when we've been casting him, and he's one of the Protoss players who consistently do this. I gotta tell you, if you took, like, the Warp Prism skills of Neeb and combined it with the recall capabilities of MaNa, you would have the ultimate Protoss player right now. This is so cool.
Zest. Okay.
Zest wouldn't stand a chance, not good.
Oh, my bad. But MaNa was able to, like...
Maybe take the looks of Zest.
That would make it perfect.
Actually,
right? Getting 2 queens with a lot of chance to use is pretty important. Queens, that's quite a job for you. Good luck. But MaNa's army is really not look so bad. It's not 60 army supply down. It's now 30 army supply down, and you got to account for if those disruptors get really good shots.
MaNa is very good. We talked about this many times that we've been casting him recently. He's good at taking fights when he's down. He's like good in that underdog situation. Woo! These disruptor shots, all 3 of them. Pardon me. Well, these disruptor shots shit all over Tefel, as 3 of those shots were fantastic. The army supply really getting close, and this isn't something a Zerg player can deal with. This is something you need to have more supply. You got to bully your opponent in. And MaNa not being on this gold base, okay, that sucks, but it's not so bad because he did tear down his opponents while this went on. So that's why Tefel started falling off. He no longer has the 50 supply lead because he doesn't have the money to get there.
Plus, we always talk about that adrenaline rush. MaNa has like a half a general rush. Tefel had a full one, and now it's MaNa's about to have another, with the Nexus finally going up and finally getting saturated. Well, Tefel is really going to start falling off. He takes a regular base as his 4th, as you're usually supposed to. Although I've been seeing a couple people try and take the other gold in the middle of the map. That's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah,
and he's really going to start faltering. Like, he's going to be like, okay, where are my reinforcements? He's spamming the Roach Hydra hotkeys, and just nothing's coming out.
Shooting blanks.
Yeah. Oh, that AI though.
That really sucks. The pathfinding kind of hurt there as a couple units go down for free. MaNa loses a stalker or 2 on the side of it, but it's not too bad for him because again, his primary thing is these disruptors. That's a lot of.
There's no Overseer.
Where did those come in?
All around, I guess.
Oh,
they morphed Archon, okay. Yeah. I noticed the one, and that's what made me like notice is that Tefel have an Overseer. So in an emergency scenario,
no, he doesn't.
MaNa could get DTs on the front lines here to help out.
Well, either way, this one DT is going to pull Tefel back home because he needs to deal with it. Realizing the threat possibly presented by this as well, that he doesn't have detection. Starting to push forward, clears up the overlords, cleans up all that creep that was so diligently placed down, and this DT's still getting kills.
Yeah, there's the Overseer, so no more emergency DTs as Tefel realized his mistake, and unfortunately DT didn't really do a good job for alerting that almost ace there.
Okay, can we get more good hits? That's the problem. The disruptors can be really hit or miss, and that's a good hit to start. Corpses go flying, blood gets splattered.
That was pretty good. MaNa, though, going to play it safe here. He's not going to go into a concave of, Roach Hydra, even though those aren't lurkers out. It's still like a concave of that, and so later sort of start missing, and your army really does go down very quickly. His 3rd base is finally like fully saturated as he's going to send his probes over to the gas geysers, and that's looking good. A little bit scared for that army to be left there, but Tefel, he got that lurker den. No lurkers so far. MaNa's catching up on, he's caught up on upgrades. He's starting his +2. He's getting a 2nd robotics, which has been missing for quite some time. And I believe charge also finished, so these zealots are going to add a lot of damage.
It's that stream delay, and people were discussing that recall, and so people were really rolling their eyes like, oh, look, a recall. But you know what? There's really not a lot of good Protoss players who pull that off. I mean, I think in HOTS it was a lot more common, but nowadays you really don't see many good recall moves. And there's like a huge priority in keeping the mothership core at home. The overcharges are so much better. I really admire Protoss players who are able to pull something like what happened in this game off. MaNa, very impressive.
That recall is actually very dangerous. Like, his stalkers could have died before it even made it over, and then it could have been sniped by the Hydras that were very close to popping out. Like, that was a bold move.
Are we going to base trade mode? Is that
I think it might go into base trade mode. So if MaNa can go ahead and get a couple of disruptors on his main ramp, or his natural ramp, he could really, like, help out here, but I don't think he's prepared for this. Oh, he recalls once again.
Okay, so just Ace 1, not Ace 2, guys.
Yeah, just base. But you know, that recall really screwed him up. His disruptors on the front line, so he loses 2 right off the bat.
But let's not forget, MaNa's still got a very strong army against what's here. So in a head-on engagement, he's still, with the Immortal count, with the Archon hits, like, he's still going to take out a good chunk of Tefel's army. And knocking down Tefel's normal base, well, it wasn't mining yet, but it needed to be. Because you know what? These golds are mined out. Like, Tefel's actually, again, he's exhausted. He has no income.
It just goes straight from, like, you know, Tefel right down to MaNa's side on that income graph.
Yeah.
Yep. And MaNa is replacing those disruptors he lost now 2 at a time since that robo finish. He's got +2 about to finish up 2, and he's ready to take a fight very soon here. He sends out both disruptors. Might actually be a tell for Tefel to move in, as he knows that's the only disruptors he sees anyways. Has to be careful what's on the backside. He's leave those are reinforcing.
Ooh, those Archons taking quite a few hits.
That's a lot of lurkers. That is some, like, serious lurkers. And MaNa realizes now there's a problem for him with detection. So observers are great, but you really want that Oracle.
Yeah. I like the attempt to go around the map with Zealots. Both players kind of employing this idea of, like, look, I can't fight the army head-on, so let's go around it. And MaNa obviously been a little bit better with that so far, but does he realize that these were left unattended?
I think he does. If he had
Squire,
more
attend
Immortals, if he had mass Immortals, like 10 Immortals, I think he actually would have run into that, because Hardened Shield would have, you know, been enough to bust through it all. But since he went for Disruptors, he wasn't going to take on those 10 or 12 Lurkers, even if they were alone.
He takes out about half the Lurkers while we have the fight set up. There's a pretty big and very important engagement over here, though. MaNa does have this base up in mining, so if he loses the gold, it's not the end of the world, but it's still not a base he should or even wants to lose. And, that Disruptor hit, Bolt to strike. That one gets the spare, that cleans it all up, and oh my god! Tefel loses so much army supply in 2 Disruptor hits. Yeah. Meanwhile, didn't realize MaNa wasn't even fighting with the full strength of his army. So GG. Game number 2 goes in the favor of MaNa. He'll take a 2-0 lead here in the finals. Tefel will get another map pick, though, for game number 3, and we are going to be, as I said, taking a small break. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes with game number 3, what could decide the outcome of the finals. So we are back after a quick restart. Hopefully Tefel's computer's feeling a little bit better and more spry and able to keep up with MaNa. But it is, of course, the grand finals of the Corsair Cup. Thank you, Corsair, for helping us make this possible. 4 tournaments a month, every single week. Spawning the top right side, he is up 2-0 currently. It is going to be the Red Protoss, Team Liquid's MaNa.
In the bottom left, as the Blue Zerg, it is Tefel.
So I really, on a gold-based map, all these things aside, like I said, I actually think Tefel played that not poorly. I just really love the way MaNa played that game, though. Sneaking out on the side with the Blink Stalkers, sniping into a recall, buying the time to get disruptors out. There is just, it was the best way to play on that map. And
yeah,
I think most other Protoss players probably just straight up die getting scared of that choke early on with the Roaches and Ravagers cancel that third and sit outside your natural.
Yeah. 2 big mistakes from Tefel. One, going up the ramp with those Roaches. Seems that every Zerg does it. No matter how many games they've played where they'd never break a Protoss on 2 base, they still try. So, you know, I almost expected it in a way. And the second one was seeing that Blink Stalker attack. Like, that Blink Stalker attack killing that third base was really quite important. But overall, like, just because he made 2 big mistakes and ended up losing the game, that wasn't a game that I thought it was going to be, where he made a mistake by pushing up the ramp, and then it was just like an unravel afterwards. You know, because we're talking about, like, sometimes you get tilted and whatnot. No, he actually played, like, a pretty solid game. He just made mistakes as if he was still in, a good place, like a good peace of mind, but just common mistakes anyone could make in his EVP. Now, after losing such a game where you think you're pretty far ahead after killing a gold base, I think he's possibly even in worse states, but we'll see.
Well, the thing I rather enjoyed about that game, too, was like how little of an impact the DTs ended up really having. Like, you see DTs, and I think everybody, both Protoss and Zerg fans, are like, come on, man, you're better than this, right? Like there's that little bit of snobbery that comes with DTs, but I really like that, they weren't bad, but they weren't, like, the thing that won him the game. It really was decision-making, control, and cool moves.
Yes, definitely decision-making and cool moves.
Oh, man, I'm not feeling very good, though.
What's that?
I feel like I got a bad case of Griffalus. Oh, 19 months of that resub! Thank you so much for coming back, sir, for 19 months in a row.
I wondered which sub you were going to shout out for that. I got a bad case of the CGTF2.
The middle part of my chest isn't feeling very good right now, Zombie Grub. Do you feel that as well?
Middle part of your chest? I don't get it.
Zombie Grub's middle nipple.
Oh. I was your sternum?
He's like the most notorious sub we have. He's never even done anything bad. I've never seen him banned in chat. He's got a lot of partoofs.
Yeah.
The guy, he's just got the stupidest name on Twitch.
I mean, the mods have actually asked me, do I mind it or should we ban him? We're well, is this like giving a bad precedent for other names that are like that? And I'm like, well, first of all, it just doesn't make any sense, It's not like, Zombie Grub's a dick or something like that. It's that's not his name.
Maybe you're like Tom Cruise in it, middle tooth.
Oh, God, no. And then second of all, he's actually been a really decent guy, so...
yeah, it's hard to complain. It's
just so weird.
Hard to complain. Cave Bear is also resubs for the 2 months as we continue our sub watch. It's past 1 o'clock now, so I guess I should go for that update. And we are on... It's slow loading. 1,234. So we've actually gone up since our last check.
Amazing.
Shouldn't be possible. I'm so scared. I just feel like I'm getting lulled into a false sense of security, and tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up, we'll have like 400 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like so paranoid about this.
It's better than waking up tomorrow and realizing it was all a dream. We're still 4 weeks ago, and we're about to cast the Alima League. We only get 10 subs that day.
No, even worse. It's like 3 years ago, and we're gonna do our very first cast together for the Zotac Cup, and I'm like, I don't even know you, man. Oh,
I don't even remember my feelings on that.
The Link's gonna get in the main. Well, obviously they weren't too bad because you came back.
No, I meant going into it, not afterwards.
Oh, okay. Some shots getting fired. The drones actually... Wow, the Queen kills the Oracle. That's a bit of a mistake. But the Adept's coming through to get some more damage done here. So, not over yet. Drone's still going to die. Drone's still going to go down.
This feels very familiar. Doesn't it? It must be the map.
What? Whoa, okay, look. If I can't post videos of Fire Cake, you can't take shots at Tefel in the middle of a series, okay?
I'm so sorry, but it actually is deja vu, okay? This is exactly the thing that happened on Detox.
It is, and Tefel gets caught with his pants down. So, unfortunately, the Adepts don't massacre the game, and, MaNa hasn't won. But he did, once again, bring him down to a playable level. The drone count is equivalent, and MaNa's not in a bad spot. His own third's finished up now, too.
I mean, mind you, the actual drone kill count's pretty identical, but Tefel didn't try and do an overload drop that didn't work this time. So those losses aren't as bad, I guess. It still is it's so frustrating for him, definitely, because he's so close to getting roaches in time to catch them before they even get into his third, much less his main, and that it keeps on happening. So just slightly off on that timing, and he's got to be feeling frustrated letting that happen again. On his map choice, too, which I guess I didn't really talk about that, but Dusk Tower is usually the go-to choice for Protoss.
Oh, he went for another Oracle.
I like it, though. I really wondered if he intentionally sacrificed it, maybe just realized, I was saving it if there's 2 queens there. But I think keeping the Oracle alive is actually pretty important.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to make another one for the sake of detection and other things. Oh god, it is deja vu. Except this ramp's wide and doesn't have to worry about getting caught in it. But the Oracle, I feel like this was made specifically because he wanted more kills. And, there's no Spore Call at the natural, so he might just get them.
Oh, no. Oh, Tefel. He's slipping in a lot of places now. He's got Hydras on the way, and they don't kill too much. That immediate drone pool really helped out, and now it's just targeting the Queen because it can. Stupid Oracles.
Yeah, but not 2 queens. Get out of there!
Yeah.
No, don't.
But those roaches, they weren't really going to do anything, so, I mean, they back off, and it's not an ideal scenario. Tefel is supposed to be having a much harder hitting, maybe even faster attack here, but he's instead waiting. He's waiting for Hydras, he's going to be waiting for the +1 to finish, probably. He's a 4th base about to be done, and that's good news, but MaNa's fully saturated on 3, which is not good news.
Yeah, but we got to go back to MaNa in a previous series, too, where Dust Tower is being the first map, back then and still kind of plays through here, is it's a good Protoss map. Like, in the most extreme situations, we've seen this map favor Protoss, and while this isn't an extreme game by any stretch of the imagination, I love the layout of it, and if it goes really, really long, it chokes off better for Protoss as time goes on. It becomes harder and harder for any Zerg player to get a win. But Zombie Grub.
I'ma find you.
And then what are you gonna do? Then what you gonna do?
And I'm gonna slap you.
You're like, I never got this far before. I don't know.
Never found anyone before.
Thank you very much for subscribing. You'd be like the worst detective ever.
You know,
like
so because yeah, I really would be. I'd be reading chat and someone brought up like the whole Riptide and Zombie Grab thing. You know.
Oh my god.
Olivia always says Riptide for fucking Riptire in Overwatch, and every single time I'm like, you shouldn't talk about Rifkin that way.
I've not noticed that, but I wouldn't doubt it either.
She does it all the time.
No, exactly. Like, I would not doubt it. It's Olivia, but... Alright, the attack does get set up for Tefel, but this is nothing more than really pressure. If he pushes up this ramp, he's going to have a bad time. So buying his time, waiting for the lurkers, much better choice. However, War Prism comes into the natural base, and the Zealots don't even care about the drones. They just want the kill on the base.
Oh man, and they're gonna get it, I do believe. They got +1, there's 4 of them left over, so I'm gonna pick up 3 of them and get out of there.
Actually, you can unload these as well. If Tefel had not responded and decided to say, you know what, I know he'll kill it and get out of there, then he would have killed more drones. That +1 is actually really dangerous. Let's also not forget Charge is also done, making Zealots exceptionally good at killing Hydras and Queens.
Yeah, and that is a lot of Hydras. Tefel went up to 33 Hydras and only 20 Roaches, so that's also, of course, some of them are turning to Lurkers, so it's not as severe, but that is a large amount. And, you know, MaNa doesn't really have a lot of splash deal. At least the charge will help out a lot, but only once they break through the Roaches. It's that storm that's really got to come down, and he will have actually more than 4. These High Templar have been getting energy for a while.
Yeah, actually, because we saw storms actually even be good against the lurkers in that previous, what was that, Leerlac Crest or whatever, forever ago. But the Hydras are definitely going to be the most susceptible things. MaNa's army looks tiny, and rightfully so, but it is made of very powerful units.
It is, yeah. Tefel should not be just going in blind with this, even though he does have the lurkers, but MaNa also to be very careful not to let the lurkers chunk away at his very important High Templar, first and foremost, and just in general, his army. He does not want them to be able to get on that ramp, or even near the ramp, really. Storm's going to go down the lurkers, but unfortunately they can tank quite a few.
Kind of cool suggestion coming out of chat. People want us to go back and find if there's any VODs of our first cast together and comment on it. I can tell you, I don't... Oh, you know what? Actually, I was going to say, I don't know what it is, but there's that email thing I gave you that showed up the date on whenever the first cast was.
Wow. Like, yeah, actually, I could probably find that, but just... Tefel actually gets demolished here, despite having this huge concave. Storms were too good. He was a little bulked up on a couple of different sides, and it was just a good army from MaNa.
I think the mistake was trying to take 2 fights at the same time. Like, that was far too spread out. That's going to cause them to tap out. GG, MaNa with a 3-0 clean sweep will be the winner of this week's Corsair Cup.
GG. But,
of course, that will mean Tefel gets $20 for second place. So it's still money for Tefel. Lunch for 2 days, something like that. But MaNa, as we talked about, getting paid out big. Let's talk about this for a sec. Ting's paying out today, which means MaNa got $1,300 from Ting. Then he got $300 yesterday for the G2A, or sorry, not G2A, excuse me, Maturino Cup, and then today he gets another $60. So that's like close to $2,000 for MaNa in what is 2 days. That's gonna feel really good for his bank account. I'll tell you what. But that's going to end the broadcast. As far as commenting on our first stream, I'll tell you what, guys, that's not something I would want to do live now. I think that'd be something really cool that we could do exclusive for YouTube type thing. So maybe sometime in the not-so-distant future. But that will wrap up the cast for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to play one last set of ads. We'll come back. We'll say our goodbyes. We're going to talk about what's happening tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow's a little bit different than normal for us. And then, of course, we'll send everybody off. So if you're taking off, have a good day. If not, stick around. We'll see you in 2 minutes.